welcome to On the Move with Lady Kate. It's such a beautiful day in Maryland, and I'm very honored to welcome a very special guest on the show. He's a veteran journalist. He is a legend. He is a treasure to all Cameroonians. He served our country as a journalist for many, many years in the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s. From Cameroon Radio and Television, I want to welcome Asonglefac Nkemleke. Welcome, sir.
Lady Kate, thank you very much. And how have you been?
I'm doing great.
Yeah,
thank you.
Say, the weather is very beautiful this Saturday. And what do you have for me today?
Oh, my God. I just want to share your inspiration with my audience. Obviously, you're such a great person. Every Cameroonian who grew up back home, back in the 70s, 80s, even the 90s, has your name as a very symbolic name in journalism in Cameroon, especially back in the days it was Cameroon Radio and Television came up later on. Can you tell us about your days back home as a journalist?
Well, Lady Kate, thank you so much. I actually went into journalism in 1977. Many people today were not born then.
Wow.
But it was a challenge for me because I graduated from Sase College. I went to Yaoundé in 71 and I studied at home to get my A-levels. And I wrote the competitive entrance exam to the International School of Journalism. It was called École Supérieure Internationale de Journalisme at that time.
Okay.
And on graduation in 1977, I decided to go into broadcasting because that was my area of specialization. I didn't trust my writing, so I thought that writing news and presenting news was better than working for Cameroon Tribune, which was the only government employee at that time for newspapers. The radio was the only available thing for graduates of the School of Journalism, and I decided to go into broadcasting.
Wow.
And to tell you the truth, the years were challenging. Starting up was not easy because when I got to the radio, the first day, nobody looked at me. The old hands did not trust me very much. But I was lucky to find a mentor in Mr. Gideon Tucker, who took me in and said, no, you can read some briefs for me, news briefs.
Yeah.
And then Paul Corde, who was doing in programs, he was at that time the main presenter of Lunch and Date.
Yeah.
And he took me in and said, okay, what you do is every day you do something from Cameroon Tribune, you read a story or summarize a story and tell the public about what was going on in the different provinces. So I started from there, and before long, I realized they sent me to the news division.
Right.
And my first day was to do a 6:30 a.m. newscast.
Right.
At 6:30. At that time, the English news was at 6:30. So I went in and I had to edit the news, I had to present it. But my greatest challenge was, what do I call myself? Because I was known in school just as Nkemleke.
Yeah.
So I decided that my given name, Asonglefac, and my father's name, Nkemleke, were the two names I was going to use on radio.
Right.
And from that time on, I was known as Asonglefac Nkemleke. Here is the news read by
Asonglefac Nkemleke.
That is how it started.
Right.
And, the first 3 years were very smooth.
Right.
But before I realized it, I was sent on mission to be the head of a mission to Bamenda for Ahidjo's 20 years in power. That was President Ahidjo, the first president of Cameroon.
Right.
And I realized that I was being trained to be a manager. It didn't occur to me then, though. But in 1979, in December 1979, the director of Radio Cameroon, Mr. Koko Amese, called me one evening. We were at the presidency for an end-of-year party.
Right.
And he said, oh, but I don't even know you very well. Who are you?
Wow.
I said, I'm Asonglefac Nkemleke. He said, yes, I know, but where are you from? I said, I come from the Southwest Province. I'm a Bangwa man. He said, what is Bangwa? I said, on appelle ça l'arrondissement de Fontaine.
Wow.
Said, oh yeah, and I know. And you won't believe it, 4 or 5 days later, I was appointed station manager. At that time, it was regional manager. No, not even regional manager. At that time, it was called station manager.
Okay.
So on the 3rd of January 1978, I was appointed chief of station, Radio Buea.
Oh, that's when you came to Buea.
That is when I
came to
Buea. And,
yes.
I'd been in Yaoundé since 71, so 81, 10 years on,
Yeah.
I arrived in Buea to take over responsibility as Chief of Station Radio Buea.
Wow.
And that is where my broadcasting went a step further.
Right.
Let's backtrack to 1978. I became the presenter, the preparer, the producer, and presenter of Cameroon Calling. This was a news magazine every Sunday morning from 7 o'clock to 7:45.
Right.
And I used to do this with a team of devoted, committed, professional journalists who would write and present their papers. And some of the things we did were very challenging at that time because the times were not easy. And President Aidjo took it lightly because he thought that we were doing a very good job. And many of my colleagues don't know that because I had a liaison between the president and myself every Sunday morning.
Wow.
He attended the same Catholic church with me in Mokolo, in Likefa actually.
Right.
And he would, after church, call me and say, "Oh, you people did a good program." I said, "But we are scared." He said, "No, don't be scared. The big man is listening."
Oh.
That's how they call Ahijo.
Okay.
So I got courage from there and encouraged my colleagues, and we went on. And in April 1980, we said we're done with fighting foreign wars because we're doing programs mostly. Our commentaries were based mostly on things happening outside Cameroon.
Oh, wow.
So in April 1980, the last program we did focused on foreign things was the independence of Zimbabwe. And after that, we said, okay, let's do something national. And we did a program on healthcare in Cameroon. And our main focus was why not professionalize departments so that people who are trained in those areas can do the jobs, manage the departments.
Right.
Our concern was why have a politician to be Minister of Public Health? And after that, Aidjo appointed Mr. Bomba Nkolo, Dr. Bomba Nkolo, as the first Minister of Public Health.
Right.
After him was Dr. Anomango of blessed memory, and he continued.
And he was a healthcare professional.
He was a healthcare professional.
Right. Okay.
And that is how it went along.
Right.
So when I left for Buea in January 1980, the program kind of started slowing down, not because the journalists were not doing their job. The aim of our being dismantled and sent to provinces, because the whole team was scattered, was to kill the program. Because Aidjo did not want the program killed, but the ministers wanted the program killed.
Wow.
So we're scattered all over the country. I got to Buea and continued to contribute. Then Aidjo resigned in November 1982, and the program changed hands, and it kept changing hands. But I'm very happy that Cameroon Report, which is now called Cameroon Calling, still survives.
Wow.
In any case, journalism at our time was challenging, not because we could not do it, but because the political atmosphere did not allow us to be so outspoken, to be critical of government and the services that government was providing.
Right.
But all the same, on getting to Buea, I ran Radio Buea as a professional station.
Right.
And after the national station in Yaoundé, Radio Buea became only the second station in Cameroon that could do things the way journalism is done.
Right.
My belief doing journalism is that journalism is not for just anybody. Journalism, you have to be committed. You have to use your sense of commitment to do it. And you have to give time for the public to reflect on what you are doing, because you are a classroom teacher being a journalist. You are teaching things to people. You are telling people what is required to build a country.
Right.
And one of the things we were told in the school of journalism is it was a symbol in the school, journalisme de développement, that's development journalism. We had to help the people to understand what government wanted implemented and go forward to do it.
Right.
Yes. So,
and so I understand that you came on board to head Radio Buea, and how long did it take for that transition from radio to television? Because I remember growing up as a kid, we only heard your voice over the radio. Yes. And you are my family, you are my uncle, yes. But most people knew the voice, but never saw the person behind that voice. Yes. So how was that transition? How long was it after you came to Buea that it became CRTV, Cameroon Radio and Television? And did you ever serve on television, or was your career focused on radio?
Well, television did not come to Cameroon till March 1985, if I'm not mistaken. At that time, I was neither in the radio nor in television.
Wow.
I was in the Ministry of Information and Culture because I'd written many papers which were too critical, and they thought that I was a voice no longer good for the air, but good for the ministry.
Right.
So I got to the ministry, and actually one of the ministers, Mr. Dr. Ngango, he was appointed Minister of Information and Culture. He came in and said, "But what are you doing here?"
Right.
I said, "I'm resting." And the Director of General Administration said, "Yes, Monsieur le Ministre, he's a repose. I don't know what he's doing here." So in 1986, I was moved to Maroua to start the provincial radio station in Maroua.
Wow.
At that time, CRTV was already existing, but radio was still radio.
Right.
But in March 1986, March 1988 really, radio and television became one unit. But I was already selected as a Fulbright Fellow to come to the United States to do a master's degree in journalism. So I did not stay long. I left in 88 actually. I left in 88, came to the United States, and that was the kind of break. When I got back in 1989, the general manager, Gervais Mendoza, asked me to go to Mbala 2, the television house. That was my beginning in television. I had not done television as such, but during my stay in the United States for my master's degree, I took some television classes, and I was able to get in, and eventually they assigned me to do the evening news, the late night news at 11 p.m., and I started from there. I was never a television person, but I was always doing reports for television. And one of the things I always did was to do what they call a stand-up. So to conclude my story, I would like to stand up and let the people see who was talking, who was presenting the report, rather than just doing it like we used to do in radio. Television is visual and audio.
That's
so you have to have both. So that's how I got into television. But I was never really comfortable in television.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah. And I will say again that your voice was very, very powerful back in the days. When you think of journalism, you think of Asonglefac and Nkemleke. I know you are Soban.
Yes.
You went to St. Joseph's College, Sase.
Yes.
Do you think that prepared you into that line of career?
I will say yes. Sase College made me who I have been and who I am. Because we went to Sase College, the discipline was tough, but we were tough also. And they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
That's right.
And I think I got what I wanted out of Sase College. I passed through Sase, and Sase passed through me.
Right.
And I became who I am because I went through Sase.
Right.
And to tell you the truth, I have been able to move on with my life because I used what I learned from Sase College. I'm a Catholic. My primary school was Catholic. My secondary school was Catholic. And I was baptized. People think that Asonglefac and Nkemleke are the only names I have. The priest gave me a name, Barnabas. And I found out that it means son of encouragement. So as a journalist, you have to encourage people to be who they are, to do the right thing, and to make sure that they help their families grow.
That's right.
And that is, I've lived that. And I continue to live that. And I'm very happy that I went through Sase College to be who I am today.
Awesome, awesome. A proud Soban.
A very proud one.
Yes. And in your career, while you were working as a journalist in Cameroon, can you recount some of the, maybe the younger journalists that you mentored? And where are they now?
Oh my, it's difficult to remember all, but the first and most important who acted in the American context today, she would have been called my personal assistant. It's a lady called Maria Goretingong. She's today in Atlanta, Georgia. I got her transferred from Buea because on a Sunday afternoon I was coordinating the program Sports and Music, and she reported from Buea. In those days, they thought that only boys or men could report sports. But she did the report so well. On the Monday morning, I went to the director of radio and said, I need that voice in Yaoundé. And when she came, they sent her to programs, but she was always there to assist me. Even in 1980, when we went to Bafoussam for the Bafoussam Congress, she coordinated Cameroon Calling from Yaoundé, and I would do the feeds from Bafoussam. That is one. There were other people that came along from the School of Journalism, George Ngwa, Dr. George Ngwa today. There was Ben Bongan, Dr. Ben Bongan, he's in Atlanta too.
Right.
Several others. Julius Wame also passed through when I was in Yaoundé.
I see.
And we worked like a team.
Right.
And my other friends and colleagues who came along, Victor Epiengome, we worked together. I didn't mentor them, but they came in trained, and we all worked together to be able to get things moving. We trained 13 new recruits in Radio Cameroon, and many of them have become journalists today.
Right.
I remember Elizabeth Ngwa, I remember Rose Pierre, I remember Elizabeth Dimla, I remember Babara Etoa.
Yeah.
These were people who came in recruited directly into the radio. We trained them. Many went back to the School of Journalism, or many entered the School of Journalism, and they are today serious and successful professionals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome.
That was then.
Yeah.
In CRTV,
Yeah.
when I was station manager in Buea in 1988, no, 1986. I keep getting my dates wrong.
Yeah.
In 1996.
Right.
In 1996, I became again, this time, station manager of CRTV Buea. In the 80s, it was chief of station, Radio Buea.
Right.
In the 90s, it was station manager, CRTV Buea. And I was there for, I think, just 2 years because I had other things behind my back to do. But when I came back to Buea, I was teaching at the University of Buea, the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, and we produced some of the sterling quality journalists who are either in CRTV today or abroad, because the atmosphere seems to have changed. The working conditions seem to have changed. And the world became the global village that the Canadian Marshall McLuhan once talked about. And people, the trainees we had, the professionals we had, have all gone into the world. And we meet on social media these days. And they are very, very happy that we are able to communicate.
That is so awesome. And so when did you leave Cameroon, and especially when did you leave the establishment of CRTV, and what made you leave? I know you're now based here in the United States, and you've been here for quite some time. What made you leave, and when?
Well, they say when the kitchen gets too hot, you get out. So the 1990s and the early 2000s, well, the 1990s actually, the atmosphere in CRTV became something else. First of all, when I got back to Cameroon in 1989, we did a program on the need for democracy in Cameroon. The Berlin Wall had fallen, and the wind from the east was blowing all over.
The wind of change was blowing. Yeah.
We did this program, and the first thing that was done to us, we were all arrested and locked in Kondengi for one night.
Oh, wow.
But luckily, President Buea came back from his village and heard that the university students were going to go on strike, because among us were 3 university lecturers, and he ordered that we be released immediately.
Wow.
So we were released, and after that, like it happened in 1980, we were scattered again to the rest of the country. I was not affected, but I went to the general manager and said, I want to go back to the Southwest province. And I went to Buea. Staying in Buea was not very comfortable, even though I was doing a lot of regional reporting, but I decided to leave in 1998.
I see.
So I left CRTV in 1998 because, as they say, the kitchen became too hot.
Wow.
I think that the conditions were not very conducive for me personally, because they thought I was a very small man with a very big critical voice. So they thought that my reporting was too critical on the system, and it was not convenient anymore for me to stay. But the second thing that made me leave was because my children were growing up. I happened to be father of 5 boys.
That's right.
Getting big, and I thought that if I stayed in Cameroon, they would not have the education I wanted them to get. Even though I put them in boarding schools, like Baptist High School in Buea. I decided to come to the United States to give them a better opportunity. And to tell you the truth, none of them is behind. They've all graduated.
They're all successful.
They're all successful. And by the side, I have 3 grandchildren.
Wow, God is good. God is good.
So
God
much.
is good. Yeah. So I know that you have shared in the past your encounter with our late and former president Amadou Ahidjo.
Yes.
What was his reaction when he first met you?
President Ahidjo was somebody that hid his emotions very well.
Right.
But he looked at me and smiled and passed. And later on, I was MC at an occasion where he was present.
Yeah.
And before he left, he came to me and said, "Mon fils, c'est bien, hein? Tu fais le bon travail." But when he resigned and came to Buea, when he was touring the country to encourage people to support President Buea, I wanted to interview him because I was already in Buea.
Right.
And he said, "Non, vous les journalistes, vous n'êtes pas sérieux parce que vous ne me dites jamais la vérité." So he was joking anyway.
Right.
Mrs. Njoma was standing by him and said, "No, Mr. President, it travaille bien." He said to Mrs. Njoma, "No, don't worry, I know what I'm talking about."
Okay.
And he said, "Mais le bout type de Buea là, qu'est-ce qu'il fait encore ici à Buea?" So it was like that short man from Buea.
Oh, Lord.
What is he doing here?
Right.
And Mrs. Njoma said, "No, he's not here in Buea."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, mais je le sais. I know it.
Yeah.
He was a nice man.
So he knew you very well.
He knew me very
Indeed.
well. Because in those my early days in Yaoundé, I was covering the presidency.
Right.
I was a journalist reporting for the presidency. I was assistant editor-in-chief of Radio Cameroon at that time. So he knew me personally. Yes. Although
That's
we never
awesome.
met one-on-one.
Right.
But I don't regret it.
Yeah.
I don't regret it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So living in the United States currently, you see how journalism is as a profession. And what do you think, reflecting on Cameroon, what do you think about journalism in Cameroon? Has it evolved from your time? Is it meeting up to the Western standards, or are we still, where are we as far as journalism in Cameroon?
Journalism in Cameroon, it depends on who you ask and how you see it.
Right.
Has evolved, has not evolved, because we still do not do it the professional way. Many journalists still think that they are there either to just read the news or just write a commentary and present it and go away. But there is what they call investigative reporting, which is very lacking in Cameroon. A story happens, nobody goes back to check whether that story was well reported on, or what is the impact of that story on social life in Cameroon.
Right.
That is very, very lacking, and I hope that things will change. But with social media now, CRTV, I think, I went to Cameroon in December, and believe you me, first of all, I did not even succeed in receiving CRTV in Limbe, where I'm based, or where I was based. And it's so defeatist because back in my village in Fontem, in Fotabong, Lewo, I come from Lewo actually, I could not get Radio Buea.
Wow.
And even when I got to Buea, I went to the bank, and the bank manager, who did not know me, he knew my name, as you said.
Right.
He saw me and said, "Oh, Mr. Asonglefac, we cannot even receive Radio Buea in Buea. I've been in Buea for 6 months, and I can count the number of times I've received Radio Buea."
Wow.
Because the transmitters we had in the 1980s are still the same transmitters.
They're still the same.
And these things are working because of the ingenuity of the technicians and the engineers who are managing this equipment. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that we need to invest in communication because it is the voice of the state. It is the means by which the state can reach out to people and communicate its policies to the people. So I hope that something will be done, and that something is being done to modernize the equipment in all regional stations so that the quality of reception can be good countrywide.
I'm thinking of CRTV as the national broadcasting media owned by the government. You would really want to make sure that they have the most up-to-date equipment and making sure that their news and whatever they're covering is actually accessible to the community, no matter wherever they are. I mean, villages have opened up now. There's electricity. There's no reason why someone in Lebialem cannot get Radio Buea. That is, to me, it's just not right.
That is the problem we have, but we hope that the authorities in Cameroon are listening and doing their job.
That's right.
Because all it takes is buying the right equipment.
Yeah.
And the technicians, the journalists, they're all very committed people.
Yeah.
They are ready to serve the public and do their work.
Yeah.
But then, apparently the means are not being directed to make that work easy for them.
Right. I know sometimes even here in the States we are trying to access, TV from back home, and some of the channels are readily available. You just need to buy maybe some kind of gadget or go on the internet. And but I think that it's very important to have access to the media across the country, not just in the big cities.
It takes investment.
Yeah.
And government has to do something about that. Yes, government really needs to do something. And talking about journalism in the United States compared with Cameroon,
right.
well, they are centuries ahead of us.
Right.
Because we don't take many things serious. We think that half measures can solve the problems. No, they need to invest heavily in the communication sector,
right.
so that the population receives quality
information,
reports, quality information.
Right.
Because some of the private stations in Cameroon are doing better now than Radio Cameroon or CRTV,
right.
which is government property, taxpayers' money. So please, government really needs to sit up and change.
So they need to invest more in. Yes. I really agree with you on that. Talking about social media, that's taking. Do you think social media will one day replace journalism? We've seen a stream of bloggers that have come up. I mean, in the last, say, 10 years, there's been an increase, a huge increase in the number of bloggers. Do you see bloggers as journalists, or, I mean, what do you make of bloggers?
Well, in my days in Radio Cameroon,
right.
Police officers were journalists.
Right.
Well, because they infiltrated our field. Here now, bloggers have come in. I see them more as infiltrating a profession and making it look less important than it was.
Right.
Some of the bloggers don't even research their information. Some do. So I take bloggers' presentations with a pinch of salt.
Right.
Because I need to do further research to be able to ascertain that what they're writing about is true, is verifiable, because there is no journalism without facts.
Right.
Facts are sacrosanct, as my late friend Luke Anaga used to say. Facts are sacrosanct in correct reporting.
Right.
So it is absolutely necessary that the journalists, both in Cameroon and in the United States and the wider world, should make sure that they get their facts right before they present anything to the public.
Right. That's very true.
The public regards the media as the source, the primary source of information.
Yeah.
Because no matter what we do and say, if the facts are not there, you're just deceiving the public.
That's very true. That's very true. And how is life treating you here in the United States?
I will say fine.
Good.
Not because the community treats me fine, not because of anything special,
right.
but because the way I handle myself.
Right.
I plant vegetables in the summer.
Oh, wow.
I eat mostly Cameroonian food. And I socialize just as best as I can, because you have to keep this structure called body going.
Yes.
I don't do much sport, but I keep fit.
Yeah.
To be sure that I am as healthy and as good looking as I've always been.
Yes.
And I think that's it. And I think I like being here, but then the grass is not always green on the other side of the fence.
Not true.
So I look forward to going back and living my life in Cameroon once again.
That's so beautiful. Before we close, I would like you to give a final word to our Cameroonians who may be watching here in the States, in Europe, back home in Cameroon. Just a final word.
My final word, I didn't say this at the beginning.
Yes.
I work with the education department in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm certified to teach English to speakers of other languages. My last word will be to encourage parents coming from Africa, from the rest of the world, to be involved in their children's education. That is very important. Without your support, parents, your kids will not succeed. Help them to succeed.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm glad you're still actively working and keeping, strong. We're very happy and honored to have you on the show today. Thank you so much, and God bless you and your family.
Thank you so much, Lady Kate.
Thank
It's been
you.
a pleasure. And,
Wonderful.
I appreciate what you are doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
You're welcome.